Deep, hi, it's good to have you with us today.
Hi, how are you? Been a
Good,
long
good.
time.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we met, right? I hope
Yeah.
everybody at home, at work is safe. No
Yes.
major incidents of corona.
Touch wood, everything is good, and I hope the same with your end as well.
Everybody's safe. Deep. Everybody's safe. Trying to keep as indoors as we can, right?
One
Uh,
should always keep distance, social distancing. That's what we are doing right now.
yes, yes, and this is the new normal. Deep, I am super excited for the discussion that we're having today. Right, I've had the
Right.
opportunity of knowing you for a very long time. I've
Yes.
always been a big fan of the enthusiasm and the passion that you carried for doing a startup, doing a business, right?
Exactly.
And but before we dive into any of that, right? I think you've had a fantastic journey, right? And a very
Yes.
exciting one, right?
Yes.
Career
It
wise.
has been very different. It's not something what everybody would expect out of someone,
Yes.
but yeah, it's
So,
been a different journey.
you started out as a doctor, right? And then you chose to become an
Yes.
entrepreneur, right? So why don't we talk
Exactly.
about that first, and then we sort of dive into
Sure.
more things
So
about
as a I did MBBS and became a doctor, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I started my first venture, which was mytestbuddy.com. It was an
sure,
online educational platform, and it was doing very well. We had a good exit from there. Then
right,
I joined another company, which was a pharmaceutical firm where we were importing nutraceuticals, and we were doing nutraceutical business across Western and Southern India.
right,
And it was doing fairly well. But that's when I realized, no, I'm a good entrepreneur and I need something of my own rather than joining a company.
right,
So that's where, again, I said, okay, let's do. And what I love doing most, I love cooking. I
right,
love eating good food. And what I realized is that, there was dearth of good food,
right,
especially when we look at the kind of chemicals and preservatives and all that we get in the
right,
food nowadays. I think it's much better to actually that's what we wanted to come up with,
right.
good solution for good people, good food. And that's what we did, and we came up with some condiments, and that's we have been growing ever since. So
That's a good one, Deep. That's a good one,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, I think with that, we'll why don't you tell us a little more about the current
Exactly. So
setup that
when,
you
as I
have,
told you, I was working with pharma,
right?
and that's where I realized, there was this need of good food, and I crave a good hummus,
Right.
and I saw that the market in India was ripe for it, and we so there's I a small kitchen that setup that we had at our place. We cooked up some hummus and salsa, and we thought of selling it. Me and my partner Dhaval, we
Right.
both thought of started selling it in a flea market, and
Right.
on day one we sold 18,000 worth of hummus,
My
and
God.
that was something surprising.
Right.
So from there we started, and we thought of, okay, we went to a supermarket and we gave our products. We had reorders on third day,
Right.
and we have been growing ever since. Been since, like, we started in March 2017, almost 4 years now,
Right.
and we have been growing. Currently having presence across 7 states, 22 cities, and more than 2,500 plus retail counters across India, where we retail our products. Online counters as well as offline counters, we're
Right.
doing well.
Right.
And we have our own D2C platform, that is bchef.in, and through which we are selling our products.
Interesting. Deep, I think one thing that everybody should know, right, is that you're not an entrepreneur who's based in Delhi, Bombay, or a Bangalore, right?
No.
You're based in Baroda, right, which is a
Yes.
city in Gujarat, right? A classical
Yes.
tier two city, the way I can put it, right?
Exactly. So
And this is a story which has really come out of there.
yes, exactly. So we are based out of Baroda. Till date, we are based out of Baroda. We have been growing from here, and we have been working on, as I told you, our aim is to have fresh produce.
Right.
And with the fresh produce, what we are trying to do is our products have lower shelf life sometimes, because obviously they don't add chemicals or preservatives or anything. And we are
Right.
able to have our products on shelf in Delhi in 3 days, or in Bombay in 2 days, or 5 days in across it. If you go to Calcutta, you will get a shelf life, a fresh product on the shelf within 5 days from Baroda. That's what we have been
Wow.
able to do, and we have been able to achieve.
I think tier two entrepreneurs, continue to question, right? If they can build a scalable large business, right? Out of their cities, right? Or do they need to move to a larger metro, because that's where customer with a higher exposure is, and ability to pay, and so many other factors, right, that are important to
But at the
sort of
same
influence the
time,
purchase.
I believe that the tier two cities do provide a very good platform. And a
Sure.
city like Baroda, it's a educational city, or classical, not even the number one city in Gujarat. We
Right.
are talking about there are larger cities in Gujarat, and we are talking about Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, and then Baroda is a third largest city in Gujarat. So it's
Right.
not one of the bigger cities of a state, rather than a smaller town. But here we were able to nurture ourselves, and we were able to resolve the problems that customers were actually coming up with. And
Right.
then from there we built up, and we went to Bombay, and then then across India. So that's how it has been. And I believe that smaller cities have a lot to give. And if we look at entrepreneurship, or any startup in any industry, now you can see that it's coming from all these small towns, this innovation, and frugal innovation that you will
Right.
see, and that's coming from the smaller towns.
Right.
And I believe with right now there is a lot of scope for good startups that are coming from non-classical places like Bangalore or Gurgaon.
Right. Right.
And
So
I
listen,
think that's the future.
I think I'm particularly excited about the D2C possibility, right? Because the fact that it's not a commoditized business, the fact that there is certain amount of creativity, right? And I think creativity can really thrive from anywhere. I think the only
Yes,
challenge becomes a operating ecosystem, right? Which is, say, of
exactly.
production and so on and so forth, right? How have you been
Exactly.
able to tackle that, Deep?
So, frankly speaking, that has helped us. The Vadodara location has helped us. It's located between Bombay and Delhi. So, if you see, look at the larger markets in India, they both are well connected. We have good connectivity, and the rents are low, and the labor is cheap. That's
Sure.
what it is.
Sure.
But yes, we do get good skilled labor as well over here, and I think that has helped us. But I believe, yes, the markets are, the tier one cities in India do give good advantage to startups, because they have good local market in which startup can, get a lot of customers. But
Right.
at the same time, there are other advantages that we can get from a smaller town where, you know, uh, where things are much cheaper in terms of labor, in terms of skilled labor, or in terms of
Right.
employment and everything, and we're able to save more. And then as we grow, we have seen the challenges of a smaller town. So when we go to a larger city, we are able to take that from here and grow over there as well.
Fantastic. Deep, what is the current SKU range that you have? I mean, how large is the SKU range that you have?
So, as I told you, we do healthy. We started with hummus, and hummus till date remains one of the major product that we have. But right now, we have a large range of SKUs that we have. We have
Right.
16 variations of dips that can be hummus, salsa, yogurt. We are the only ones in India who are doing fresh guacamole. We import our own Mexican HAS avocados, and we get it done. And that is something which nobody else is doing, even in Bombay or Delhi.
Okay.
Then we have sauces, international cooking sauces like hot sauces. We have barbecue sauces. We have other, uh, you know, uh, tahini. We are one of the few manufacturers of tahini here in India. And then we recently launched that. Okay, now we need to have products for everyone. And
Right.
that's when we started with makhani gravy, tikka
Right.
gravy,
Right.
tandoori gravy,
Right.
and that's what is actually winning the hearts. And that's a new product that we have launched, and it is getting really good reviews, whether be it Delhi, Chandigarh, Kerala, Kochi, or Thrissur.
Right.
Everywhere we are getting good response from Indian gravies. And obviously our products without preservatives, without chemicals, no colors, and at the same time yummy as hell.
Interesting. Deep, just want to sort of understand this, right? So all the manufacturing that's currently happening is happening at the owned
Vadodara.
facility in Baroda. or there are certain
Yes.
parts that within the manufacturing industry, right? That you
So
also.
actually, if you see, you will find us if you look at our range, there are n number of products. But
Sure.
if you look at closely, it's Indian. It's more of sauces, gravies, and dips,
Right.
wet condiments.
Right.
And this is the sector which we are doing it over here in house in Vadodara with
Hmm.
3 lines that we have in manufacturing lines, and from there
Okay.
we are able to generate more than 35 SKUs.
Interesting. Deep, one thing which is very difficult, right, is to choose between doing a B2C model and doing a B2B model, right? And especially when you're doing something which is like what you're doing, which is sauces and dips, right? The natural inclination
Exactly.
is to go out and build a B2B play, right? Because there is a certain
Exactly.
predictability that comes into the game. There is a certain, when you have a clarity in terms of who my clients are, that you get a feedback on terms of what's happening and all that. And then, of course, it's a slightly lower risk game, right?
Exactly.
Is
But
that is that is there a choice? I mean, was there a difficult choice to go down the B2C route?
see,
What has
B2C
been the
route
journey like?
has been something that has been very close to me because I love, interacting with the, having products that interacts with the consumers, and with the current day and age, we have good social media ecosystem. We have a, where, online, any customer, if they have a problem, they can directly take a pic and, put it on their social media, and we are able to reach out to them. And that's where we are getting 95% plus
Right,
positive reviews, and
right.
that's where we are able to see that okay, our customers are getting in touch with us. But at the
Right.
same time, B2B model, yes, that is there, and that gives numbers. But B2C has given us more satisfaction because we are able to reach out to many more clients. With we believe we have reached more than around 500,000 customers, and we are growing.
Unique customers, do you mean?
Yeah, genuine customers who are paying, who have bought our products, and who are consuming. And there are many of them. You can go to Instagram and check bchef.in and see how many of them are actually talking about our products. They are making good recipes out of our products, and that's something that's very inspiring.
Very interesting. Deep, I still remember a conversation that we had, say, somewhere in 2018, right? Around the time, we'd spoken, right? And you'd mentioned that, listen, we're doing dips and,
Yeah.
and you're kind of expanding and, we're doing like a bunch of modern retail stores and stuff like that, right? And I had my set of questions, right? In terms of, is this even a market which is large enough, right? What was it? Was it a calibrated call? Was it a gut call? Or was it just sheer excitement that, you were creating something which was good? And you said that, let's go out there, let's build an experiential play. Let consumers come in, try, test, and we'll figure. So
Exactly.
was it calibrated, or was it? Give me a sense of that.
So, see, as we look at dips, we started with our journey with dips, and that's where we started, and that's what you're talking about. That was the time when we were doing only dips, and but we saw that this is the place which was growing. That is a new niche market, and that is what was growing, and that was our anticipation that fresh, preservative-free, chemical-free dips and sauces which people love consuming, whether be it hummus, salsa, or yogurt based dips. And that's what something that we thought would work, and we did. That has worked. But
Right,
with the time, we have added more products to our kitty, and we have expanded to sauces and cooking sauces and
right.
barbecue and grill sauces. And this is all, it's all like a stepping stone from one to other to other. But at the same time, we are being true to what we are, and that is to provide good quality pantry essentials which you can use to have a good meal. And that's what we are giving. And that's
Fantastic.
what has actually, the idea of having good meal, and you're able to have a good snack or something, or a dinner or something very easily. And that's what our customers like about us, and that's why they're coming back to us again and again. And I think that is something that is good, and that
Interesting.
has shown.
Interesting. Deep, what are the currently, what's the split, right? I mean, what percentage of sales is happening in a physical or a retail? say pre-COVID, right? What percentage was happening in a to a retail
pre-COVID,
point
if we
and
look
then
at
online? What was the split?
around 80% was offline through supermarkets and large scale, modern trade that was called.
Right.
And rest, you can say around 10% was B2B model, which is, we supply to some of the major chains in India, major hotel chains in India. And then some of it was through online, like 10% odd. But now we are doing almost around 25-30% online through our portal and Amazon. And then Big Basket is a very large online player that we have right now. Big Basket is the largest consumer of our products, and then after that we have all other channels. So around 50-50 split for between the offline and online.
Okay, and how's COVID changed the picture for you? I mean, COVID has kind of disrupted everything physical, right? I think every brand which had a physical or an offline first approach, right, had to kind of redesign their entire distribution system.
We
right?
had to redesign the entire product range, and we saw that as an opportunity, because when there was a sudden lockdown,
right,
at that time, if you look at our product range, it was all fresh dips category, which was having a short shelf life.
Right.
And with COVID, we were unable to see a time where, in near future, where we would have, good transportation or fast way in which logistical support and everything was disrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, and at the same time, we saw that people had become chefs. They were staying at home, they were cooking, and they were posting what they had made at home in Instagram, and this is something that inspired us.
Right.
So we came up with cooking sauces, international range of cooking sauces, and that's what hit the chord with the customers. And that's where we could expand from pre-COVID to now. We are at least 5 times the sales of pre-COVID numbers, and that is all driven by the cooking at home and restaurant quality food at home, and pre-mixed sauces that we are doing.
Right.
So maybe if you have had a kung pao chicken at a hotel, and now your favorite restaurant is closed, you want to make a kung pao chicken at home, just add our sauce, chicken, mix it, toss it up, and it's done.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Right.
So we have all these kind of sauces which are exciting, and that's something which has helped us grow during the COVID times.
Interesting. And Deep, when you talk of food, right, there are two things that are very difficult, right, to kind of manage, right? One out of those is trust. How have you been able to establish that, right? Because when you're out there, right, and I'm assuming that when you are talking about dips, when you talk about sauces, you're talking about a certain audience which is already aware, has the exposure, is trying, is testing, right? Is the demographic which has that, which is doing some of these things, right? They have the choice of buying a legacy brand, right? Over that, they are, choosing a newer brand which is out there. How have you been able to achieve that? So,
I would say that there is an awareness, that there's a need of awareness, and that's what, as I told you, that with word of mouth and by doing certain campaigns with the known celebrity chefs and all that we are doing, and that's something that has that gives trust. If you know somebody who is telling you to consume a certain product, that's where you are able to reach out to the customer. But other than that, we do a lot of wet sampling at the store. That was that we have been doing, and we do. So if you go to your supermarket, there's a good supermarket in Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore, there's a high chance that you will find somebody who would give you a nice sampling platter, and you would be able to taste some of our products.
Right.
So we do a lot of sampling activity. Other than that, we do a lot of word of mouth awareness campaigns. We do certain cooking events at the society level. So if you have a larger society compound, and a chef would come to you and they will show you how to cook with different products. Right. And that's what a number of campaigns we have been doing. And so that's something.
There's a huge experiential play that you built, is it?
Yeah, that's
very interesting.
That has been a long journey, and we have till date almost reached out to around 200 plus societies across India.
Right.
And that has been a good way in which we are, able to reach out to customers, and we do get good results, good consumer, regular result from the areas in which we do activities like these.
Fantastic. The, is the DNA very optimized? Are you a fan of a high burn model? How has that, decision making impacted, you designing the brand, building the brand?
Yes, there are certain theories in which people do spend a lot of money to reach out to people,
Right.
and that results in maybe initial sales would be there, but at the same time they don't result in continuous sustained growth.
Right.
Rather, if you have a growth which is driven by the product being accepted by the market. So when, as I told you, that we have a 4-year journey, and to reach out to 22 states, 22 cities across India, we have taken our time. We have taken our time to establish ourselves in every territory in which we are there. To be present at the right places where the products can see the movement. It's not just about placement of the product and just showcasing that okay, we are here. Rather, it's creating experiences for the consumers, and that is something that has helped us grow. And I think that is something that should be done for every brand, and it should be a steady growth rather than a blitzkrieg of marketing, and reaching out to 100 million users on day one, and then you don't have the product.
Right. So what you're essentially saying is it has to be balanced, right? It has to be
balanced. It has to be a steady growth. Yes,
right.
There has to be a push. There has to be a marketing activity that has to be done,
right.
But not at the expense of just being unable to fulfill the demand that is there.
Very interesting. Deep, how is the competitive landscape, right? I mean, this is a space which has been, there's a lot of import which has happened. There are a lot of international products that are available. There are a lot of Southeast Asian products that are available, right?
Yes, it's a competitive market, but I believe it's a very, very, niche, and the kind of products that we have, if you look at the brands that are available for you to choose from, not more than 2 or 3 for every SKU that we have. So basically, yes, there is competition. There is many big names that would come to you. Okay, मैंने इसका भी sauce देखा है, उसका भी sauce देखा है.
Right.
But it's not that it's it's like the same clash of the same product. It's like you would have seen something, but rather than that, if you look at a supermarket, there's a lot of space to grow. And if you look at the mature markets like US or somewhere, where you will find at least 6 to 7 different brands competing for a similar product, and they are also growing. So at the same time, in India, it's a very nation market, it's still growing. It's still at a stage where we can see a lot of potential. So it's like every other product has, there's a market for a product. It's not just that you have a ketchup today, then obviously mayo is something else you are going to try. It's not that you had ketchup, so maine sauce le liya, khatam ho gaya.
Right.
You will try something else, and the more number of trials and more number of variants that are available to you, the more you will try. And that's what is happening. That if the consumers are given with more number of choices, they are consuming more, and they are consuming with different products. And there is a scope for growth for each and every one of the brands that are.
Lovely. Deep, take me through your, the product development process, right? I think you spend a lot of time doing that research, right?
Yes.
You are, in a way, the core or the chief architect of the entire product process, right? And I think being a foodie helps in the process.
Yes, it does. It does.
Take me through that, right? Take me through that. Help me understand how do you sort of how do you predict the trends, right?
So basically,
what is that journey?
We do hear a lot from the consumers what people want. We collect a lot of data, whether be it from, as I told you, there's wet sampling going on at the store level. From there, we get the data from online, from consumers telling us that okay, मेरे को ऐसा खाना है, ऐसा हो तो अच्छा हो. I know, surprisingly, Bombay market, the consumer, we were getting one of the request was हमें white dip खाना है. That was the canvas that we had. White dip khana hai. So that's the kind of things that come to us, and from there we try to build. We do have a food technology team. We have we collaborate with chefs, and we come up with products, recipes. We do some. There's a we would invite some. People to our place and have a nice party and see what people are talking about. Which dip khatam ho gaya? Kaun sa khatam ho gaya? So that would be the initial testing. And after that, once the product is it reaches a certain stage, we would introduce it in a very small segment or small market. Let's say Bombay or South Bombay, some regions of it, or some places where very trusted retailers. We would give it to them, and we'll see what are the response that we are getting, and then we would have a larger spread and rollout eventually over the period of 4 or 5 months. It generally takes around 2 months to have a product ready and getting it to the market, and then to rolling out eventually, gradually to one and the other market. Because every city has its own taste. Every city has a different way in which they consume a product.
Correct.
And that has been very surprising that, we have found certain products, our top selling product in Bombay will not work in Pune. And good selling product in Pune will not work in Chandigarh or something. So it's like every city has a different taste buds, and that's something that is helping. The R&D and having proper data, proper analysis, and there's a lot of data that is required to being able to have this products coming to the market and analyzing them and finding which products would work in which market, and then to get this product. It's not like one solution, one key to all the locks. It's like, as I told you, we have 35 SKUs.
And is it difficult to institutionalize this creative process?
It's not that difficult. It can be done.
Okay.
And there can be certain parameters that can be set to for growth. That's what we can do.
Right. Deep, when you started out, right? I mean, food is a very, very complicated area. I like to highlight it, right? And it's important to factor in the regionality, right? And especially in a market like India, which is so much more complex, right? What is your team construct right now? Then give us a sense of what kind of a team do you have right now at your setup, at a product level. Just give us a sense of that.
So we have people coming from good all different big companies that are. We have people coming from HUL. We have people coming from Cornettos or Nestle. These are in sales as well as in terms of we have people here at our manufacturing unit with coming from good educational background, like colleges from IRMA, which is an Indian Institute of Rural Management, Agricultural Management. We have people coming from food technologists from good premier institute, and they all have combined, and there's a lot of R&D that goes into a product that comes through. And the people that we have, we have around 60 plus people that we are, we have a team of around 60 people across India, and they all contribute, something or the other, and we allow and we hear the voice of everyone, whether be it a salesperson on ground in small town to someone is a regional manager or somebody. We want to hear. And that's what me and my partner Dhaval, what we do is we talk to them, we hear and we listen to what they are saying. At the end of the day, consumer is the king, and we are reaching out to the consumers. So that's where we are getting our data from, by hearing and listening to what our people on the ground, they are getting their knowledge from the stores, from the retailers, from the consumers who are there, and giving them feedback. And that's all that is collected, and that's something that has created a good team.
Interesting. Deep, how exciting is the idea of Bharat? I mean, you are essentially a founder who's based out of Baroda, a tier 2 city. You are essentially developing these products for the cosmopolitan markets in India, right? And a large percentage of your sales is essentially coming from modern retail, right? Which is essentially
Exactly.
all in tier A cities, tier 1 cities, right?
Yes.
What is Bharat for you? I mean, what is the idea of Bharat for you? I mean, are these products going to be available in tier 2, tier 3 cities? What's the plan on that front?
So as I told you, we recently launched with gravies. The
Sure.
idea was to reach out to as many people as we can. Obviously,
Right.
we are having products for tier 1 cities and tier posh or well traveled young professionals,
Right.
and fast who are having a fast life, who don't have time to cook, or they don't have that kind of patience.
Sure.
But at the same time, Bharat, as you tell, it's an aspirational. It's not something that is that should be given as a it's there. It just drives the economy, but it is growing. People
Right.
in small towns, small small cities, and they all are they are seeing what's happening in the other part of the world. They are it's an age and a day where it's very easy to communicate with people across the world, and that's where they have aspiration. They have 100 rupees they can definitely spend. So they have money, they have aspiration, and if you reach out to them, it's there. And we have seen our products. If you see our D2C products, it's not what we are talking about Vadodara. We get people from some orders from towns and villages jiska naam bhi nahi pata hota. We have to Google it whether it is which state it is.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
And that's from there we go, oh acha yahan se order aaya hai. And
Right.
that's a very small towns and villages, and from there we are getting online orders. And very good ecosystem has been developed by some of the larger e-commerce giants and delivery and different partners who have created where we are able to reach out to more than 90% of the pin codes are serviceable in India now.
Right.
For D2C. So
Right.
if we have product and we are able to sell it on through our mobile, through our apps, we are not just targeting the tier 1 cities. We are targeting everybody. We are
Interesting.
targeting entire India.
Deep, you've had a phenomenal growth across the last 4 years, right? I mean, and when I say that, of course, early years are very, very formative years, but once you get a grip in terms of who your customer is, and I think then the product journey becomes so much more easier, right? And I
Yes.
think also the fact that you've established a certain credibility and food, it works very well, right? And then of course there's a
Yes.
possibility of cross sells and stuff, right?
Yes.
Give us a sense of what are the growth numbers that you've seen as a brand, right? How is that journey
So
be?
uh,
The
initially,
mathematical journey be?
yes. So as we grew as a bootstrap brand. We received our first round of funding from GBFL in October 2019. So
Right.
up till then, we were present only in the Western India, that is Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, Bombay, Pune market. That was a traditional market in which we were able to grow.
Right.
And once the funding came and we were able to grow further we started with down south markets like Bangalore and Chennai, which are good markets and traditionally modern retail markets. But then the COVID came very soon, within 3 months of our funding. And that's where, as you saw, challenges and everything came.
Right.
And fortunately, with the innovation in the product range and having certain vision, we are right now doing somewhere around 5x of pre-COVID levels, and we plan to reach at least 80-90 CR per annum within next 2 years.
That is a phenomenal number, Deep. That's a phenomenal growth, right? And from starting with an home experiment of creating hummus and then do an aspiration of doing an 80-90 crore across next 2 years, I think is a phenomenal demonstration of the fact that this is a market which is growing, and I think if
Yes,
you are at it, you will eventually get to a point where customers start to recognize you and they start to consume from you, and they become part of the process, right?
exactly.
I'm gonna move away from some of those things that you've built at your startup, right? And I'm gonna go a little more
Exactly.
generic, right? Which I think is
Okay.
advice for a lot of other founders who are building D2C brands, especially in tier two, tier three cities, right? You've done a lot of experiential engagement, right? While you're building this brand, and it's an important piece when it comes to food, right? How important is it? And when you're doing that, right, of course, that leads into purchase, and then that purchase leads into a repeat, and then that repeat becomes a customer. You win a customer where he or she raves about you, right? And then there's a certain virality, and others come in and consume from you, right?
Yeah.
And brands work hard to institutionalize this entire process, right? As a founder, you always want that, that this happens, and then there's a base effect that adds to your overall growth performance. Uh, how has the community been for you? I mean, how important do you think as a founder is it important? How important is it to create a very strong community of people who are talking about your brand, who are recommending your brand, uh, without
So without
necessarily
that, the
getting
company
expensive?
won't grow. I
Sure,
think that is the most important thing. It is to find the first movers.
sure,
It's to find the right people who would take your brand and who would adapt to your product, and they would use it, and not just use it but also tell others what they have done and
sure.
how it has helped. And that's the we have to identify them, and from there we need to ask, sometimes personally आपको बोलना पड़ेगा कि
Mhm.
please help me reach out to more people. And once that helps, and once the word of mouth starts growing, then you will be surprised to see somebody else actually coming to you that, okay, somebody told me that this is a good brand, you use it. And I will
Right.
say, okay, it's my brand.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And what are some of your tips when it comes to creating a community, right? What are some of the things that you've done to do that community?
It's not that there's any format or anything that would fit, because there's no one set of rules that something happens. But yes, we need to reach out to as many people as you can. And
Right.
as an entrepreneur, or as somebody who has a brand, one should never feel shy in talking about yourself. One
Right.
should never shy and just let your product do the talking. You have to tell the consumers that, okay, this is what I'm doing. Because by seeing the product, nobody would actually know the entire journey that product has gone through.
Right.
Somebody has to explain, and
Right.
that journey is something very important, because that is what is going to stay with the consumer.
And that you think is important to build a community, right? Early on, I think you
Yes,
have to evangelize. This is what you're saying, right? You have to seed it in. You have to
yes,
evangelize it. Create a lot of content like you're doing, right? I mean, and do it over Instagram and other channels, right? So that you
yes,
become participant in their,
yes,
in the process of them doing good food.
yes. So, and it's a good thing because we are having food, so we get to enjoy good food in the office. So you are all most welcome. Come down to Baroda and you will have good food.
And I'm looking forward to that one. Deep, what are some of the other challenges that you think other founders should be privy to when they're building a D2C brand, right? I mean, you've done it, literally from you've done it bottom up, right? What are some of the challenges that you think are very important for founders to factor, right? While building a D2C brand and in food, let me put it that.
So I believe, see, today only I got this. The data was there that 2.7% of Indian consumers are now buying online,
Right,
but that's 2.7% of the consumers.
right,
So we don't want to miss out on 93% of the consumers.
right,
And that's where you when you build a brand, it's if you solely focus on online, or you you believe that it's just one way or one path for you.
hmm,
That's not it. Keep the path open, keep avenues of streams of revenue flowing, and you will find n number of ways in which you can grow your brand.
right.
And I believe innovation, being frugal, and at the same time believing in your product, and always aiming for perfection, because you can't chalega attitude will not work, because
Right.
especially in this day and age, if your product is having anything little short of excellence, it won't work. I mean, people will just start complaining about it, and a negative review, a negative feedback goes a long way in people getting away from you. So
Right.
try to have the product that you give out, you believe in that product. You should be able to consume your product if you are in food, and you should be able to use your products, and that's something that gives the confidence.
Interesting. Deep, how do you solve for complexity in India? I mean, I know you've answered it, right? And you've also highlighted the fact that, for example, what is working in North is not going to work in South, and what's working in West is not going to work in East. I mean, we understand that complexity, right? How do you prioritize? How do you prioritize?
So you prioritize the market that you want to be in. You cannot prioritize that something is going to work across the nation. Sure. Because every city in India has its own taste. Even something that works in Baroda won't work in Ahmedabad, leave alone Gujarat as a one market. So every city, every location has a different taste or a different way in which they consume a product, and that's true for anything. Even from clothing to anything you look at, there is certain taste that the consumers are having in that particular region. Now, how to resolve it is what defines you as an entrepreneur, because there isn't a set rule that would tell you that okay, that this will work here. No, it doesn't. But rather, as you asked me a question on go big. But if you go big with the wrong product in the wrong market, that's something is going to fail. So you have to know whether something.
But Deep, tell me this, right? Doesn't that slow you down? Doesn't that slow you down? I mean, even that you'll have to.
It does, but at the same time, I don't think it's too slow. I mean, because once it's like a snowball effect. Starting chota hota hai, dheere dheere jaake badhe, then it multiplies. So it's a snowball effect.
Are you a big fan of? Are you a big fan of creating a category? Are you a big fan of just repackaging very quickly, and then dishing it out, saying that this is already something which exists? Let's capitalize on the existing, say whatever palette, taste, whatever. Let's not, speed in as a startup.
You won't find us doing that. Okay. You won't find us doing that. You would find us doing something completely different from what is there in the market.
Right.
So if you look at this category, and what would come to your mind would be a mayo. But we don't do mayo at all. We being there for 4 years, we could have easily done that, but no, we are not doing that. Rather, when we got the blank canvas of white dip, we came up with yogurt-based dips rather than a mayo, which was an unhealthy fat-ridden, emulsified fat. Instead of that, we came up with yogurts. So that's what we do is we come up with solutions that are different.
Right.
And that's something is what consumers are liking about us. And yes, others have followed, but still, it's that we would not look at a problem or look at somebody else's solution and try to copy the same thing. We would rather come up with a problem, a solution of our own, or rather a new category.
What you're essentially saying is seed it in, right? Have a differentiated path for your product. Seed it in so that there is a certain recall that you've established. People, there is a certain likability that people develop for you. And you're not necessarily then dealing with the baggage that they have with, say, certain experiences that they've had in the past and stuff like that, right? Exactly. Interesting point. I think that's a very, very interesting point.
Because, yes, if you go with a product that is mainstream,
sure,
then it won't be a startup. It would be an FMCG.
Good one. I like that one. Deep, what is the global aspiration, or is there a global aspiration?
Yes, there is. We are looking at, we would be, I think this month we would be available in Dubai.
Okay.
And we are looking at, exporting our products in entire GCC Gulf area. We are also having certain, distribution models and all we are working on for ASEAN and Thai especially Bangkok and Singapore market. And we look at European markets as very, very lucrative, especially for the Indian gravies. And with the people, Indian diaspora where across the world, they would love to. We're getting a lot of queries when we launched as I told you, the Indian gravies. It's not just for the Bharat; it's for international people outside India, from India, who would like to cook something Indian. So
So Bharat's outside
it's
of Bharat.
global. Yes.
Interesting. But when you're doing that, right? Don't you? I mean, you have the likes of the Haldirams and so many others, right? MTR and these are brands that have existed there for last so many years, right? And I think that's been a natural go-to for Indian consumer, right?
It's
Are
as I
you
told you.
tackling that that entire preconceived a positive perception in a different way? How are you doing it? Or are you saying that, listen, we should be out there, we should position ourselves, and we sort of build in the process, right? And we sort of start to engineer in the process.
Actually, if you see, there is a market that is there for newer products, for products that are a little bit different and rather than the traditional Haldiram product or an MPR product. Rather, there are newer consumers that are there who would like to have their say in the kind of products that they consume. And we are trying to solve that. We're trying to give them the variations and the new India, the food of 21st century India,
Right.
not the food that Indians believe people are consuming for ages, but rather something that's new India is consuming, and that's what we are giving.
Interesting. I think one thing that is very constant across all the points that you highlighted, right? And I think when I'm thinking of the product, right, of the product that you've engineered, is constant creativity, right?
Exactly.
I think you're essentially thriving on creativity, right? And I
Exactly.
think that's possibly something. And I think what you've really done in the process, Deep, is that there's a certain strength that you build in that with that creativity, right? And that's the moat that you possibly have, and that's possibly the conviction and the confidence of winning the customers when you're out there, right? And also the challenging the normal, right? In a certain sense of way. See, what are next 2 or 3 years like, right? You'd mentioned about the top line that you're looking at. I understand that aspiration.
So
But what is going to be
next
retail? What is going to be D2C? What's going to be the digital business strategy
So
next
we
next two
would
years?
have in next 2 years, we would like to reach out to at least as we told, the Gulf and the Asian
Sure.
ASEAN countries nearby. We would like to expand ourselves to these territories, as well as in India, Bharat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we are going ahead. We are going ahead with having products that we would be able to reach out to much larger audience, not
Right.
just the top 2% or 3% of the population. Rather than even when we look at our products right today, we see the consumers. If we look at our consumers, it's not the entire Bombay. It would be South Bombay and western suburbs, or in the South Delhi and the Gurgaon. It's
Right.
not that. We want to be present everywhere. We
Right.
want to be we want to have present not just in the premium places, but have products for consumers and who are there, everyone. And there are different products for different different people. But yes, we would like to have reach out to as many people as we can. And from reaching out currently to our target market being 2 to 3% of the population, we would like
Right.
to maximize this to around 7 to 10% within next 2 years.
So next time when we speak, and hopefully that'll be soon, we're looking at a much larger family, right? So not 500,000 customers,
Yes.
but possibly, a couple of million customers is essentially what the target is, right?
Yes.
Next 2 years is going
Yes.
to be the larger
Exactly.
family that you're going to be raving about and
Yes.
talking about, right?
Yes. Exactly.
And many, many more new products. Deep,
Yeah.
a great conversation. We're towards the end of the conversation. Your top, say, your three inputs, advices, to founders who are building D2C brands, and they have an aspiration of building one from a tier 2 city, right? What are some of those top 2 or 3 advices that you have for them?
So, I mean, first, I would say to believe in the problem that you are trying to solve, and come up with the best solution that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Never to cut slacks. I would say that chalega attitude won't work. I mean, aim for the perfection, aim for the best possible solution for your problem that you are trying to solve. And don't rush for valuations. I mean, rather, build a scalable business that would grow much larger.
And engineer the product?
Yes, the product has to be genuine. It has to be innovative and creative. I mean, that's the core of it.
Yeah, and talk to your customers. How important is that?
It is important. It's important to keep your eyes and ears open. You always need to keep on listening to what your consumers are telling, because they are going to tell you the exact what they want, and the consumers will tell you the right thing because they have paid for it, and they're not going to shy away from complaining.
On that note, Deep, it was a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much. It's always so exciting to talk to you. The energy is clearly very contagious and in a good way. And I'm sure everybody who's going to see this is going to be excited, right? And the fact that the way you've broken it down, and in a very non-complex way, where you highlighted that it's not difficult to go out and create a good brand. You just have to get the basics right? And just have your ears and eyes open, keep listening to your clients and customers, right? Prioritize your markets, have a don't shy away from seeding in a product, right? And there could be a completely new category that might emerge out of it.
Exactly.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you very much, Ashu, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Same here. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Take care.